Well, a lot on the line. A lot on the line for the Eagles tonight.
Quarterback isn't healthy, and the best player in their secondary, cornerback Darius Slay, isn't playing tonight.
Wow. Okay. So that just happened, and it was definitely a 180 for Philadelphia Eagles fans for the last 24 hours. We have a lot to talk about for this game. The storylines going into this game, I will admit, were kind of hilarious. So before we get to the content, we are a few hundred subscribers away from hitting 800,000 subscribers. If you guys were subscribed up until this point, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. I said in my last video, you guys are the main source of my happiness each and every day. The fact that I get to come on this channel and do my dream job for you guys, and I have an awesome team backing me up, I honestly couldn't ask for more. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! We made $1,100 off of a $20 entry on Prize Picks. And it wasn't just me, it was everyone that followed these picks on my Instagram story. And the best feeling is the amount of people that made money as a result of this. I mean, bam, bam, bam. Bam! My DMs were flooded, so the best part for me was seeing you guys make money as well. But we're not done yet. PrizePicks has a promo for a free square. All Kevin Durant needs is to score 1 point on Christmas Day, which means we only need to get 1 pick correctly in order to make some more money. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, use my promo code Mikerophone to double your deposit up until $100 on PrizePicks. And I give away my picks on a daily basis for free on my Instagram story and now my Snapchat story. We're having so much fun doing this. I'm so happy that I made you guys some money, and thank you PrizePicks for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Coming into this game versus the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles had a lot to look forward to. You see, if the Philadelphia Eagles win out for the rest of the year, they would definitely win the NFC East. If a few things go their way, like a 49ers loss, for instance, they could potentially get a first-round bye in the NFL playoffs. But going into this game against the Seattle Seahawks, there were a bunch of storylines that could potentially sabotage the Philadelphia Eagles season. What do I mean by that? Well, the good news was the Dallas Cowboys got absolutely embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills on national TV. It was such a soul-sucking defeat that, well, it took me a day to get that video out to you guys. We uploaded it earlier today. And that's good news if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. The bad news is, well, Dom DeSandro isn't going to be allowed on the sidelines. As a matter of fact, he was banned for the rest of the year in one of the most bizarre storylines of the NFL season. Another piece of unfortunate news, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, is the fact that Jalen Hurts was out with an illness. But that wouldn't stop Jalen Hurts from hyping himself up, walking into the stadium in Jordan gear, trying to insinuate that this was going to be his flu game. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles fans were fresh off of talking shit about the Cowboys getting embarrassed on national TV. To be honest, I can't really blame them. I would do the same thing if I was them. But you should see the amount of tweets we were seeing about this particular matchup. In 30 years, you'll be telling your kids about Jalen Hurts' flu game versus the Seahawks. Hashtag Eagles, hashtag fly Eagles fly. Nick Sirianni before the game said he is happily ready to be Jalen Hurts' Scottie Pippen and carry him off of the field if necessary tonight, according to ESPN, referring to Michael Jordan's legendary Game 5 flu game performance, because Hurts has also been ill. This has been a storyline for both the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Something must have gone down during that particular matchup, because there were multiple Dallas Cowboys also reporting that they were sick leading into their last game versus the Buffalo Bills. But I think the worst news of all, more than Jalen Hurts having the flu, more than Dom DeSandro getting banned, is the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles have officially relinquished defensive play calling duties from Sean Desai, who was their defensive coordinator, by the way. The man that was calling the plays on defense, none other than Matt Patricia. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the individual that was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots last year, the individual that had Mac Jones screaming as a result of his incompetence, the individual who Darius Slay couldn't stand on the Detroit Lions, but apparently they get along now, was the individual that was calling the defensive plays tonight. So you have Matt Patricia calling calling the defensive plays. You have Jalen Hurts, who's ill. You have Dom DeSandro, who can't protect 250-pound plus super athletes on the sideline. And then you had Nick Sirianni giving Nick Sirianni-like quotes. Going into a game against the Seattle Seahawks, who were playing with their backup QB, Drew Lock. So what's the worst that could happen? And what we would notice is what I like to call synergistic incompetence. And in this particular case, I'm going to give Jalen Hurts a pass because he was ill and he doesn't typically play this terribly. I'm not about to come on this channel and say, oh my God, Jalen Hurts is terrible. The Eagles need to bench him for Marcus Mariota, like somebody I know.
Clearly, Jalen isn't comfortable reading through a defense in a drop back pass scenario. Some would say he's not even good at it. And I think that when you look at this team, you have to have a serious conversation if you're Philly. And you have to really say, is it better for us to play Marcus Mariota right now and let Jalen get fully healthy? Because I would argue that it does not matter if you're the #1 seed.
But I will say this was a catastrophe from a coaching perspective. I mean, this game was practically gift wrapped to the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you had Drew Lock under center. The Philadelphia Eagles had a 17-10 lead versus the Seattle Seahawks, at least in the beginning of the second half. And then following this, we just saw a series of 3-and-outs and just horribly ran drives by the Philadelphia Eagles. It's almost as if Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, saw what happened to Sean Desai and said, you know what, I'm jealous of this guy. You know, he got demoted and he lost his play calling duties. I want a demotion. I don't necessarily understand what the strategy was here. I don't know if this was Nick Sirianni. I don't know if this was Brian Johnson. But with all due respect, if you're up 17-10 in the second half, if your defense has been doing a good job containing the Seattle Seahawks for the entire second half, then why aren't you running the ball? It was almost as if they were sitting back there saying, oh, it's supposed to be Jalen Hurts' flu game. He's the next coming of Michael Jordan and Nick Sirianni, Scottie Pippen. Let's have Jalen Hurts drop back and throw more footballs, even though it's resulting in 3-and-out after 3-and-out after interception. And it was like they were doing it over and over again. At a specific point, you got to look at Jalen Hurts and say, okay, Michael Jordan isn't feeling so good right now. Let's not have him drop back nearly as much. We have the lead. We don't need to be this aggressive. We're facing off against Drew Lock, for crying out loud. In the very beginning of the game, I'll admit, Matt Patricia's defense was working great, but it was towards the end of the game that it became a meme-worthy meltdown. Drew Lock led an incredible drive highlighted by a crazy reception by DK Metcalf that resulted in a touchdown pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba. But the craziest part is, when the Eagles got the ball back, you could tell something was up with Jalen Hurts. I mean, I really think this man was ill because Jalen Hurts forced the wildest throw to AJ Brown that would get intercepted by Julian Love. The craziest part about this was he had Kenneth Gainwell wide open for a check down, and the Philadelphia Eagles had their timeouts. And this is what I mean when I said cohesive and synergistic incompetence. It was incompetence from the offensive coordinator's perspective for trying to be so aggressive unnecessarily. It was incompetence from Matt Patricia's perspective for allowing a 92-yard, 10-play drive at the very end of the game. And it was incompetence from Jalen Hurts' perspective for making the wrong read. And the thing that was the most shocking about this is Jalen Hurts has a reputation for conducting his press conferences and pretty much speaking in Instagram captions. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look.
I know I've walked through the fire time and time again. And in the end, it's always made me stronger. You know, I think I hate losing more than I love to win. Some of these things, they build character. I say that all the time. You know, that's a day-by-day thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. And money is nice, championships are better. That we're not just hungry for it, but we're starving for it. Never get too high, never get too low. Rent is due every day, and when that rent's due, I don't plan on missing no payment. No man is an island. You gotta draw your strength from others. I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion, and enough is never enough.
Every week, everybody do their job and dominate their box, and we'll be the best team ever. Gotta keep climbing, man. Sky's the limit.
So following one of his worst performances of his career, where he had a passer rating of a 40.1, threw for 143 passing yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He did have 82 yards on the ground, I'll give him that. He decided to come out and call out his team for a lack of commitment?
In those situations.
I've been talking about execution all year. Been on the same page. Everyone been on the same page, and we didn't execute. I don't think we're committed enough. Just got to turn it around. It's a challenge that we have to embrace. Just continue to see it through.
What do you mean by that, about being committed enough?
Commitment. I don't know that. I had a dictionary on me now. Excuse me. I don't know how else to say.
At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts' incredible flu game resulted in him going 17 of 31, throwing 2 interceptions and no touchdowns for a passer rating of 40.1. Drew Lock went off 22 of 33, 208 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift had a remarkable game. I mean, I still don't understand what the strategy was here. It was quite literally right in front of you. I don't know why the Eagles didn't keep going back to what was working. At the end of the day, the Eagles still have a fairly easy schedule. They face off against the New York Giants twice and then the Arizona Cardinals. Not in that order, but it's an easy schedule. It's just so surprising that it went down like this. At the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles are in some trouble because this is their 3rd loss in a row. And this is the worst time to be on a losing streak. They haven't won once in December. They do have an easy schedule coming up against the Giants, then the Cardinals, then the Giants again. But I will admit, I was saying this about the Cowboys. This is the worst time ever to go absolutely cold. This is the worst time to demote defensive coordinators and remove play calling duties and try to insert new stuff like Matt Patricia being the guy that's calling the plays.